New York City Art Centers, Galleries, and Museums. Chapter 1. A New York City Area Art Guide 1. New York City Area Art Museums. Folkartmuseum.org, American Folk Art Museum. AMNH.org, American Museum of Natural History. BrooklynMuseum.org, Brooklyn Museum of Art, Brooklyn. BXMA.org, Bronx Museum of the Arts. ChelseaArtMuseum.org, Chelsea Art Museum. CooperHewitt.org, Cooper Hewitt National Design Museum. DazHmuseum.org, Dahesh Museum of Art. DrawingCenter.org, The Drawing Center. ElMuseo.org, El Museo del Barrio. Frick.org, The Frick Collection. TheJewishMuseum.org, The Jewish Museum. Heckscher.org, The Heckscher Museum of Art, Huntington. HRM.org, Hudson River Museum, Yonkers. TibetanMuseum.org, The Jacques Marchais Museum of Tibetan Art. Staten Island. MetMuseum.org, The Metropolitan Museum of Art. TheMorgan.org, The Morgan Library and Museum. AfricanaRT.org, Museum for African Art, Long Island City. MadMuseum.org, Museum of Arts and Design. MochaEnique.org, Museum of Chinese in the Americas. SocietyIllustrators.org, Museum of Comic and Cartoon Art. MoMA.org, MoMA, Museum of Modern Art. MCNY.org, Museum of the City of New York. MovingImage.us, Museum of the Moving Image, Astoria. NationalAcademy.org, National Academy Museum. nmi.si.edu, National Museum of the American Indian. NeweyGallery.org, Newey Gallery Museum of German and Austrian Art. NewYorkHistory.org, New York Historical Society. Rurik.org, Nicholas Rurik Museum. Noguchi.org, The Noguchi Museum, Long Island City. QueensMuseum.org, Queens Museum of Art. Armanique.org, Rubin Museum of Art, Art of the Himalayas. SCULPTURE-CENTER.org, Sculpture Center, Long Island City. Staten Island Museum.org, Staten Island Institute of Arts and Science. StudioMuseum.org, Studio Museum in Harlem. UkrainianMuseum.org, The Ukrainian Museum. Whitney.org, Whitney Museum of American Art University Art. Museums and New York City Area Public Art Galleries. nyu.edu/Gray Art, Gray Art Gallery, New York University. New York State Museums. AlbanyInstitute.org, Albany Institute of History and Art, Albany. AlbrightKnox.org, Albright Knox Art Gallery, Buffalo. ArnotaRtMuseum.org, Arnott Art Museum, Elmira. CarouselMuseum.org, Carousel Factory Museum, North Tonawanda. CMOG.org, Corning Museum of Glass, Corning. Everson.org, Everson Museum of Art, Syracuse. FrederickRemington.org, Frederick Remington Art Museum, Ogdensburg. EastmanHouse.org, George Eastman House, Rochester. Heckscher.org, Heckscher Museum of Art, Huntington. HydeCollection.org, The Hyde Collection, Glen Falls. CadenaMuseum.org, Cadena Museum of Art, Cadena. MuseumOfPlay.org, National Museum of Play, Rochester. Neuberger.org, Neuberger Museum of Art, Purchase. NYSEM.nyseed.gov, New York State Museum, Albany. TheHamptons.com/museum, Parish Art Museum, Southampton. RockwellMuseum.org, Rockwell Museum of Western Art, Corning. UnisonArts.org, Unison, a community-supported arts center, New Paltz. New York City Area Art Centers. Aperture.org, Aperture Foundation. ApexArt.org, ApexArt. ArtInGeneral.org, Art in General. Birikitsmedia.org, Brick Contemporary Art. new-york.checkcenters.cz, Czech Center New York. diacenter.org, Dia Center for the Arts. drawingcenter.org, The Drawing Center, DAC, Dumbo Arts Center, Brooklyn. exitart.org, Exit Art. franklinfurnace.org, Franklin Furnace. flcart.org, Fisher Landau Center for Art, Long Island City. hollowcenter.org, Hollow Center, Center for Holographic Arts. icp.org, International Center for Photography. jccmanhattan.org, Jewish Community Center in Manhattan. ps122.org, Performance Space 122. whiteboxnewyork.org, Whitebox. whitecolumns.org, White Columns. wacenter.net, Williamsburg Art and Historical Center, Brooklyn. Chapter 2. A New York City Area Art Guide 2. New York City Art Museums and Galleries 1. newyorkartworld.com, niaw.com, New York Art World. artdeco.org, Art Deco Society of New York. metmuseum.org, Metropolitan Museum. moma.org, Museum of Modern Art. moma.whitney.org, Whitney Museum. guggenheim.org/new_york_index.html, Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum. frick.org, Frick Collection and Frick Art Reference Library. dashmuseum.org, Dahesh Museum of Art.ny.com. africanaart.org, Museum for African Art. brooklynmuseum.org, Brooklyn Museum. queensmuseum.org, Queens. newmuseum.org, New Museum of Contemporary Art. bronxmuseum.org, brooklynmuseum.org. elmuseo.org, firemuseum.org. frick.org, guggenheim.org, jewishmuseum.org, metmuseum.org, moma.org, mta.info/mta/museum, newyorkhistory.org, themergan.org, whitney.org. New York City Art Museums and Galleries 2. alternativemuseum.org, The Alternative Museum. guggenheim.org, Guggenheim Museum. moma.org, Museum of Modern Art. newmuseum.org, New Museum. whitney.org, The Whitney Museum of American Art. frick.org, Frick Collection. guggenheim.org/new-york, Guggenheim Museum. thejewishmuseum.org, Jewish Museum. metmuseum.org, Metropolitan Museum of Art. moma.org, Museum of Modern Art, MoMA. mcny.org, Museum of the City of New York. whitney.org, Whitney Museum of American Art. New York City Art Museums and Galleries 3. alternativemuseum.org, Alternative Museum. folkartmuseum.org, American Folk Art Museum. amnh.org, American Museum of Natural History. asiasocietymuseum.org, Asia Society Museum. birikitsmedia.org/contemporary-art, Brick Rotunda Gallery. bronxmuseum.org, Bronx Museum of the Arts. brooklynmuseum.org, Brooklyn Museum of Art. chelseaartmuseum.org, Chelsea Art Museum. cooperhewitt.org, Cooper Hewitt, National Design Museum. dashmuseum.org, Dahesh Museum. diacenter.org, Dia Center for the Arts. diaart.org/sites/main/hsa, Dia, at the Hispanic Society of America. drawingcenter.org, Drawing Center. elmuseo.org, El Museo del Barrio. nyu.edu/grayart, Gray Art Gallery at New York University. hispanicsociety.org, Hispanic Society of America. icp.org, International Center of Photography. ipcnewyork.org, International Print Center. japansociety.org/gallery, Japan Society Gallery. lehman.cuny.edu/vp advanced/art gallery/gallery, Lehman College Art Gallery. themorgan.org, Morgan Library. fitenique.edu/aspx/content.aspx ?menu future global museum museum at the Fashion Institute of Technology, FIT. africanaart.org, Museum for African Art. madmuseum.org, Museum of Arts and Design. mobia.org, Museum of Biblical Art. mocanewyork.org, Museum of Comic and Cartoon Art. mocada.org, Museum of Contemporary African Diasporan Arts. nationalacademy.org, Museum of the National Academy of Design. newgallery.org, Neue Gallery Museum for German and Austrian Art. newmuseum.org, New Museum of Contemporary Art. newyorkhistory.org/web, New York Historical Society. rurik.org, Nicholas Rurik Museum. queensmuseum.org, Queens Museum of Art. armanique.org, Reuben Museum of Art, Art of the Himalayas. society-illustrators.org/at-the-museum/overview.aspx, Society of Illustrators Museum of American Illustration. Staten Island Museum.org, Staten Island Museum. studiomuseum.org, Studio Museum in Harlem. ubs.com/for/art-collection/index.html, ubs art collection. ukrainianmuseum.org, Ukrainian Museum. columbia.edu/cu/wallach, Wallach Art Gallery at Columbia University. New York City Art Museum list, no websites, phone numbers. The Metropolitan Museum of Art. 212-879-5500. The Museum of Modern Art, 212-708-9400. The Morgan Library, 212-685-0610. The Whitney Museum of American Art, 212-570-3600. The Frick Collection. 212-288-0700. New York City Fire Museum, Soho, 212-691-1303. Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum, 212-879-5500. The New York Historical Society, 212-873-3400. El Museo del Barrio, 212-831-7272. The Jewish Museum, 212-423-3200. The Brooklyn Museum of Art, 718-638-5000. The Bronx Museum of Art, 718-681-6000. The New York Transit Museum, 718-694-1600. American Folk Art Museum, 45 West 53rd Street, NYC, 212-265-1040. American Museum of Natural History, Central Park West at W 79th Street, NYC, 212-769-5100. American Museum of the Moving Image, 35th Avenue at 36th Street, Astoria, Queens, 718-784-0077. Asia Society and Museum, 725 Park Avenue at East 70th Street, NYC, 212-517 Asia. Brooklyn Museum of Art, 200 Eastern Parkway, Brooklyn, 718-638-5000. The Bronx Museum of the Arts, 1040 Grand Concourse at 165th Street, Bronx, 718-681-6000. Chelsea Art Museum, 556 West 22nd Street at 11th Avenue, NYC, 212-255-0719. The Cloisters, 99 Margaret Corbin Drive, Fort Tryon Park, NYC, 212-923-3700. Cooper Hewitt, National Design Museum, 5th Avenue at 91st Street, NYC, 212-849-8400. The Frick Collection, 1 East 70th Street, NYC, 212-288-0700. The Jewish Museum, 1109 5th Avenue at 92nd Street, NYC, 212-423-3200. The Metropolitan Museum of Art 5th Avenue at 82nd Street, NYC 212-535-7710. Museum of Arts and Design 40 West 53rd Street, NYC 212-956-3535. Museum of American Financial History 28 Broadway at Bowling Green, NYC 212-908-4110. The Museum of Modern Art, Queens 45-20 33rd Street at Queens Boulevard, LIC, Queens 212-708-9400. Museum of the City of New York 5th Avenue at 103rd Street, NYC 212-534-1672. The Museum of Television and Radio 25 West 52nd Street at 6th Ave, NYC 212-621-6600. National Academy of Design Museum 1083 5th Avenue at 89th Street, NYC 212-369-4880. National Museum of the American Indian on Bowling Green across from Battery Park, NYC 212-514-3700. National Museum of Catholic Art and History 443 East 115th Street, NYC 212-828-5209. New York City Police Museum 100 Old Slip, 4 blocks south of South St. Seaport, NYC 212-480-3100. New York Historical Society 2 West 77th Street at Central Park West, NYC 212-873-3400. Noguchi Museum 36-01 43rd Ave LIC, Queens, Temp LOC, 718-204-7088. Queens Museum of Art NYC Building, Flushing Mead, Corona PK. Queens 718-592-9700. Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum 1071 5th Avenue at 89th Street, NYC 212-423-3500. The Studio Museum in Harlem 144 West 125th St at Lenox Ave, NYC 212-864-4500. Whitney Museum of American Art 945 Madison Avenue, NYC 1-877 Whitney. Contemporary New York Art Galleries. AlexanderGray.com, Alexander Gray Associates. BortolomeiGallery.com, Bortolomei. Biravanlee.com, Bravanlee Programs. CarolinaNiche.com, Carolina Niche. KCKAPLAngularly.com, Casey Kaplan. DavidNolangularly.com, David Nolan New York. DavidsWerner.com, Davids Werner. DavidsonContemporary.com, Davidson Contemporary. GalleryLelong.com, Gallery Lelong. GVDGallery.com, Greenberg Van Doren Gallery. GreenandAFTayLiGallery.com, Green Naftali. JCACCIOLAGallery.com, J. Cacciola Gallery. JacksHainman.com, Jack Shainman Gallery. JonathanLevine.Gallery.com, Jonathan Levine Gallery. LuringAugustine.com, Luring Augustine. MarianneBoski.Gallery.com, Marianne Boski Gallery. ThatcherProjects.com, Margaret Thatcher Projects. MatthewMarks.com, Matthew Marks Gallery. DavidsonGallery.com, Maxwell Davidson Gallery. MetroPicturesGallery.com, Metro Pictures. MackenzieFineArt.com, Mackenzie Fine Art. MeandDN.com, Mitchell Innes and Nash. MurrayGuy.com, Murray Guy. PaulaCooperGallery.com, Paula Cooper Gallery. PaulKSMGallery.com, Paul Kazman. PavelZobach.com, Pavel Zobach Gallery. Petzel.com, Petzel Gallery. PPOWGallery.com, PPOW. RobertMillerGallery.com, Robert Miller Gallery. SKNewYork.com, Sean Kelly Gallery. SundaramTagore.com, Sundaram Tagore Gallery. TanyaBonakDrGallery.com, Tanya Bonakdar Gallery. WinstonWachter.com, Winston Wachter Fine Art. Winkleman.com, Winkleman Gallery.